Tales of Battle. I am Shinella, as you might possibly know, and currently here, trying out something entirely new. Now usually I would go on and tell the story, but as this is the first time that I'm actually doing this, I'm going to go through this in a different way. I'm going to start explaining by what the Tales of the Battles are. Now the Tales of the Battles are stories written by players either in or not inside Anti-Amanfe. Most of the stories are based on true stories, but not all of them. It depends on what the person in question wants to write down, and I will simply tell them for the person in question. Now, I can't always provide a video. For example, the current tale that I'm going to tell is based on a true story, but it is not a very easy thing to do, considering the part that it happened in the past and I didn't have my recorder with me. Now, typical about the Tales of the Battles are that you will edit them in such a way that even when they are based on true story, they are still a little bit different, just to make it more easy to tell. But you will see what I mean not far from now, because now I will start the entire tale. Now the tale that I've got is called The Fight of the Warp Splinter. So Anti-Amanfe itself, too, was being calm as always. Having a drink at the bar, they decided to start talking about this interesting new feature that has been brought up. Challenge runs. According to Ironcliff, an officer in the guild, and Shinella, the second in command, which is now actually the first in command, it was the only way for the guild to meet a true challenge. After a long discussion between the two, they had decided that armor was not an easy thing to obtain. They had to fight in the Botanica. It all started on a tranquil day. The Botanica was slowly studying nature using arcane magics, as is always. But there it came, in the distance, the 5 heroes. They stood tall and strong, each known for their own features. Shinella, a brave warrior built on pure protection for his allies, and bringing full potential as a first target. Ironcliff, a short but heroic leader, known amongst many lands for having the most soothing spells. Morpheus, as short as he was featuring the most powerful blows of arcane magics in the Outlands. Kilandiera, a pure warrior, showing the most vicious strikes of Azeroth witch swords. And then there was Zitalin, a ninja puller was his specialization, and being awesome was his job. The 5 heroes stood next to each other and walked down the path without a doubt on their faces, causing fear amongst everything around. There they rushed, causing havoc amongst the whole Botanica, leaving nothing but pain and agony in their path. True heroes they were, true pain they brought. Until then, they thought they were on time, but was too late. The Warp Splinter stood ready to fight. So the 5 heroes gathered. They started explaining on how this vicious creature of nature would be defeated in the most crucial way, in the most tactical way. But oh no, Zitalin, known for his spec as a ninja puller, ran in. He showed the boss how awesome he was, and bang! A blast of the boss health just bursted down strongly. Zitalin stood tall for very long, but he was lost. The boss was too strong for him alone and he fell. But hope was not lost, of course. Shinella rushed in immediately, yelling the words revenge. Ironcliff followed, giving a loud whistle as if a Sims character jumped into a swimming pool. Morpheus rushed as well, immediately bashing the monstrosity with his sword. And Kilandiera, he started to plainly take out his sword and slash everything that stood in the way. Saplings fell per second, damage was given per second. The boss, however, was not easily killed. Oh no, the boss stood strong and he didn't feel like giving up just like that. It ran to crumble. It did. It started to crumble. But he felt better than that. He was stronger than that. He started to rejuvenate his pains, recombining the broken fingers in his body and recreating his strength. The boss stood tall for 15 minutes of pure long combat. Kilandira eventually passed away. The pressure was too much. Morpheus wanted to avenge him, but he too was overwhelmed. The pearl gnome fell to the ground. Hope seems to have gone. It was lost. A little drop of sadness filled the area, as Shinella and Ironcliff were the only ones left. Ironcliff was angry. Together with Shinella, they started to show their pure powers and bursted out as good as they could. The splinter started to fall off. The Warp Splinter was slowly going to die. Eventually, after a long, nearly lost combat, the Warp Splinter fainted. The heroes were satisfied, but deadly exhausted. Shinella fell to the ground, coughing from the tough competition. Meanwhile, Ironcliff started to revive the lost people with his last powers, before eventually fainting as well. They woke up later in the blue recluse of Stormwind. Ironcliff remembered most of it nonetheless, and started sighing deeply several times, thinking over the fight, whilst Shinella, as lost as he was in his mind, kept pondering about the fight as well. The fight was hefty, harsh times were happening, but they noticed one final fatal error into the whole combat. Shinella noticed that there were more skills than what was used in the fight. Then Morpheus started crying. Why did I not cast these spells as well? He fell to the ground, feeling bad about himself. It turned out that the fight was fought with auto-attack. This story is written by me, Shinella, and well, this is one of the first stories that I can bring up to you, and this was just an example as well. This is an old story I written back in day. Not really certain when it was, but it was before I became the guild master of Antiamanthe, so that must have been several months ago. I thank you for listening nonetheless, and please do tell me whether you like this series or not. I will hereby take my bye-bye, and I will see you next time.